We have two very special guests to tell you how to navigate the markets today. Kush Bora, Parag Thakkar, gentlemen, both of you, thank you so much for joining in. Kush, we pointing towards a small uptick. Would you believe that that will last, or is it difficult to predict this week?
Sure. First of all, very good morning, guys. And I'm sure we'll all recall the famous dialogue Ajit had about liquid oxygen.
मरने नहीं देता, जीने नहीं देता.
Liquid इसको जीने नहीं देगा, oxygen इसको मरने नहीं देगा. देखो वैसा कुछ ना थोड़ा बहुत अभी मार्केट के साथ हो रहा है. All the DII buying, all the talks of reforms, no, नीचे जाने नहीं देगा. But all the tariff talk and the FII selling ऊपर नहीं जाने देगा. Now, if you'll recall, this is exactly what we discussed on Friday, which is 25,000 is important. 25,250 perhaps we could head to, but a big surge, a big up move, no, is unlikely unless and until you've got an FII short covering figure that comes in. That's not happened. Mild, very mild, change in percentages, if you will, on the percentage. So now 89% short instead of 90, but it's not moved the needle in a very big way. That remains, a big concern. Speaking purely technically, the rebound rally that we saw retraced exactly from the 61.8%, retracement level, where about 24,160 was the level, 24,153 is where we retraced from. The good thing is that we're still taking support within that, medium-term consolidation zone of 24,800 to 25,000. Now, do we go much higher from here? Let's just put it this way. If we do open close to the 25,000 mark, I wouldn't create fresh long positions on the Nifty. Multiple things going. This is the monthly expiry. We've got the tariff, the second tariff deadline, secondary tariff deadline looming tomorrow, where much might not happen. But all of these things put together, 25,000 will become the pivotal level. Maybe a few hundred points, couple of hundred points here or there, but doesn't make very strong and a convincing case for an up move. If we sustain above 25,000, then yes. If not, I think this is where perhaps the markets are going to consolidate for the next couple of days, at least up until the expiry.
Got it. Before we come to you, Parag bhai, I want to come to you, Kush, on your picks. What are you looking at that is exciting this morning?
Sure. Just a quick word on Bank Nifty, Alex, just before I get to that. We've had this view on the Bank Nifty that it's not the index where you create fresh longs. If you had, you might as well hold. That continues. The recovery that we saw was concentrated and rather weak, and it's given way. 56,000, 55,800 still remains a critical level on the upside. So be a little watchful. I still prefer Nifty for trading over Bank Nifty, but there too, 25,000 is the resistance as we spoke. So I'll wait and watch. Now, as far as stocks go, two of them. This, being the Monday morning, we come up with that weekly pick. This time around, it's SJVN. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this stands out. For the first time since October 2024, the stock has now, on Friday, for the first time, surpassed the 200-day moving average. Now, we all understand the technical significance and the relevance of that. So, if you want to catch a rally early in a particular stock, high risk, high reward, then, SJVN is your stock. For now, we're just going with a 5 and a 10% first and a second target. So 105, 110 on the upside are your targets. 95 is where you place that stop loss. From the FNO space, CG Power is showing good traction. The momentum is missing because obviously what the market has done, but it's firmly holding above the key averages, the 20, the 50-day moving average. Friday, it saw an uptick with a very smart up move in the volumes. So CG Power continues to impress. 690, 700 are your targets on the upside. 670 is where you place that stop loss.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Kush, for that. Parag bhai, very good morning.
Good morning.
A lot has happened since we spoke last week, and I think the big talking point is whether there's going to be a short-term disruption on account of this GST implementation, right? So our understanding is that it might actually be pushed through if you get the states on board. So how are you reading this? Would you take any opportunities to buy into consumer durables, into some of these automotive companies?
So as we have discussed, last time also, and after that, I think TVS Motors and Mahindra again rallied 7-8% in that particular week only. So basically, I keep my stance same. TVS, Mahindra, or any dip you have to buy if people get worried about this short-term impact of this GST thing, and so people pushing out, people postponing the demand towards the Diwali, and so this 10 days might be very lackluster for every auto or consumer durables. So TVS and Mahindra, even if I see this week's number or dispatch number of TVS and Mahindra and Eicher, they are excellent and they are far outpacing the industry. So TVS and Mahindra remain peaks on the other stock which I have identified, which I bought in my fund, of course with a disclaimer again, I will tell you, is Motherson Wiring. They are a large supplier to Maruti, 42.5% ROCE, net cash company. and 40% of the sales is Maruti. So I think it's another company which can benefit, which has very good balance sheet, which has 3 new plants which are starting to ramp up, which has a revenue potential of 2,100 crores. So now I am going down the road after auto OEMs, coming back to good auto component companies where ROCs are very good and balance sheets are net cash.
And wiring harness business, so it has applications beyond just ICE, right?
Yeah. So basically what happens is that if there is an improvement in features in cars, which nowadays is very common, again the wiring harness value per car increases. Same in the case with two-wheeler, where Mindacorp also supplies. We hold Mindacorp also in our portfolio. So we are playing this content per vehicle story through this kind of stocks, and plus if there's electrification, then the kit value goes from 15,000 to 30,000 in case of Motherson wiring. So wiring harness is a component which is very critical, and where the content per vehicle keeps on increasing with every increasing feature in the car.
Understood.
So,
Morning, Hirat.
good morning, Alex. Good morning, Neeraj, Kush, and Parag Bhai. But you know what's interesting is the kind of impact any of these two-wheelers will see as well, because one of the news reports today was suggesting that bikes with 350cc plus engines will see a 40% GST. Wow. So Aisha is a potential negative reaction in terms of today's session as well, because that is the one which is the maximum impact when you talk about 350cc and plus engines. But apart from this, you have NSE's semi-annual index rebalancing, which is effective from the 30th of September. And that brings in significant changes to major indices that are based on 6-month average free float market capitalization and the liquidity that the stocks hold. Somit joins us to tell us more. Somit, what's coming in, what's going out? Because we had a couple of, anticipations as well ahead of this rejig. What have you picked up so far?
Well, multiple stocks remain in focus, but for the main board index, that is Nifty 50, the changes that were anticipated is pretty much in line with what has actually come in. Now, these changes will be effective from the September 30th, and inflows and outflows regarding the same is expected to happen on September 29th. So September 29th is the main date to watch out for any investor, because that is when the actions will happen. So how many changes has NSE announced for the major indices? If you look at Nifty 50, there are a couple of changes. Nifty Next 50, there are 4 changes. For Nifty Bank and Nifty IT, there are no changes that we are seeing. Nifty Mid Cap 150, around 13 changes that has been announced, and for Nifty Small Cap 250, around 23 changes have been announced by NSE. Now, when it comes to the major indices, that is Nifty 50 and Nifty Next 50, it's Indigo and Max Health which get included in the Nifty 50 index. Inflows are expected to be anywhere between 405 to 540 million US dollars for Indigo and Max Health, and that is nearly 10 to 14 times that 20-day average moving. Now, on the exclusion side, it's Hero Motor and IndusInd Bank. Both of these stocks are moving out of Nifty 50. Hero Motor could see an outflow of close to 300 million US dollars, while IndusInd Bank could see an outflow of close to 227 million US dollars. And for both the stocks, this is nearly 5 times the 20-day moving average. When it comes to the Nifty Next 50, 4 stocks are getting included: Solar Industries, Siemens Energy, Mazgaon Dock, and Hindustan Zinc, and inflows are expected to be anywhere between 27 to 63 million US dollars, which is nearly 1 to 3 times the 20-day moving average. And stocks that are moving out, Indigo, because obviously it's going to Nifty 50, hence moving out of Nifty Next 50, and because of that there would be an outflow of close to 180 million US dollars. But apart from that, there is Dabur, ICICI Pru Life, and Swiggy, which are moving out of the Nifty Next 50, and because of which there could be an outflow of anywhere between 30 to 50 million US dollars, which is nearly 0.4 to 3 times the 20-day moving average. Now, apart from that, the another index provider, that is the global index provider FTSE, has also announced some additions to the all world index. Now, the effective date of this changes is September 22nd, but inflows and outflow, that is the passive inflows and outflows, will happen on September 19th, but we do not have the exact data of how much inflows could happen in these stocks. But these are the stocks that are getting added. That is Godfrey Phillips, JK Cement, MCX, Narayana Health. Apart from that, there is Indian Overseas Bank, Authum Investment, Hexavetech, and Chola Finance.
It was a big mover last week, wasn't it? So
and from this, I think Mazgaon will be another one. Apart
yeah.
from the rejig, the 70,000 crore deal negotiations, I think that is something that will give it a thumbs up as well.
Absolutely. Kush, either of these two, how would you trade them? Godfrey, of course, so 1 day of double-digit gains, and then there was a bit of a move towards profit-taking, I think, towards the end of the week.
Correct. Both these stocks, JK Cement and Godfrey, will come to Mazgaon as well. But JK Cement, I think we had a very solid view for a while that actually paid off quite a bit. 2 sessions of profit booking, the stock taking support of the 20-day moving average. I think I will take that as an opportunity to add further on JK Cement. Godfrey Phillips had a very volatile kind of a move. So I want to wait. Anyway, the resistance for this comes close to the 11,300 mark. There is a resistance. So I wouldn't want to buy it just yet. If you have, you could continue to hold. Breakout above this level will actually push it higher to 11,800 kind of levels. Mazgaon Dog not really doing much, dearly trying to hold on to that 200-day moving average support. So wait and watch. There are immediate resistances at about 2,800 and 2,860. So I would perhaps be a little cautious on the on the defense names, HAL, Mazgaon Dog included.
Well, there is reason to be constructive, but okay, Kush believes on the charts at least. You want to be playing with caution. I wonder if Parag Thakkar might actually go overboard on IT. He believed IT was a good thing to buy at dips. Now, Parag bhai, with the Fed seemingly showing intentions, we do not know whether it will happen, but 25 bips seems to be given in September, right? Does this set the stage for a significant rally? And the reason I choose the term significant is because the street seems largely underweight on
absolutely.
IT. Just that the last few days we've seen some upgrades, BOFA, and Investec and some of the others. So what's your call? Would you go overweight IT now?
So basically, I'm equal weight as of now as we speak, and as stocks, I said Infosys biggest weight is Infosys, followed by LTI Mindtree, third is Wipro, and fourth is HCL Tech. And definitely, I would because of this Fed dovish stance and chances of 3 rate cuts now, and as you rightly said, 25 bips rate cut in September becoming higher probability. Definitely, I would consider increasing my weight wherever possible, especially in Infosys, because as I told you, Infosys, LTI, Mindtree kind of stocks, there are 5 to 6% free cash flow yield. In Infosys, you have 4% dividend yield. So valuations are also okay. I know that market, some people are, for example, Citi's report is there. They are worried about the growth prospects still coming in. And still we have not seen too much of impact of AI playing into this. So the worries will remain, I think. But as you rightly said, people are underweight due to these worries. And the stocks are of very good quality. So there is no reason to be underweight from here on. That much I can say. How much overweight to go depends on real recovery and real commentary by the management.
And I think, Neeraj, on this, even Phillip Capital recently, I think they had a note where your domestic investors and your FIs both have been actually underweight, and their position, institutional position with regards to IT as a sector has been the lowest. It's a record low, and they've said that probably this is the time to bottom fish in terms of IT. So probably you will see that interest that could start coming in as well.
Let's focus in on Nazara Technologies. Who are the big investors who have continued to stay invested despite the uncertainty and the policy shift, and who has exited whole hog? We've got Hiral with all of the information. Hiral?
Thank you for that. It's interesting. Some marquee names have stayed put. Some have actually chosen to exit, and this is just before the online gaming bill came into effect, so probably they've got lucky as well. Let's quickly understand, Rekha Jhunjhunwala, she's made a complete exit, and this is done in June 2025. Overall, the exit, though, has come in 2 months before the online gaming bill, and she has sold the stake in 2 tranches, and this was done the first tranche was between the 2nd of June to the 13th of June, and the other tranche was sold between 9th to 10th of June. So by June 13, it was a complete exit that we've seen by Rekha Jhunjhunwala in terms of a Nazara goes. Now, the entire exit has actually fetched her 770 odd crores, and this has delivered nearly 4-fold kind of returns on the back of the investment. Now, let's quickly look at what has been the impact on the stock as well. If you see in terms of Nazara, the stock actually plunged 14%, and this we are talking since her exit as well. In fact, investors have lost nearly 1,700 crores in value during this period, and in a week it slipped 19% on the back of the impact of the online gaming bill. In fact, it's the steepest drop that we've seen since listing with regards to Nazara. Very quickly, the online gaming bill, as we know, cleared by the Union Cabinet on August 19th, passed by the Parliament as well by August 21, and got the presidential assent. Moving on, the key provisions are categorically with regards to where ban on online money games goes, financial transactions related to it, and the related advertisements as well. And the prohibition is mainly on harmful online money gaming services financial transactions which are related to them. Let's quickly understand the impact that we've seen in terms of Nazara. One, only indirect exposure to RMG via 46% stake in Moonshine, as we know. The company had actually invested 805 crores towards equity shares, whereas another 225 crores was done on the back of convertible shares as well. The net effect remains negative for the company, though this is not accommodated in terms of the top line of the consolidated numbers as well. Now, let's quickly look at who are the investors who've actually stayed put on a Nazara Technologies, because that's interesting. Via Kamath Associates and NKS Squared owns 3.5% stake in Nazara. Apart from him, we have Madhusudan Kela, who still holds 1.18% stake in terms of Nazara. And very lastly, the Khandelwal family. So you have Arpit Khandelwal, who owns around 7.44% stake. And this is via Khandelwal's Plutus Wealth Management, where they own 10.9% stake. So these are the guys who are still absolutely positive and continue to hold their stake so far. Over to you.
Yep, thanks for that, Hiral. It's an interesting one, simply because they have said that they do not get impacted too badly, and worst case scenario would be writing off of that 837 crore of investment. In the interview with us, they have mentioned this. Almost everybody, Parag bhai, we just saw stories of Dream11 and some others trying to repurpose their tech to other businesses. Nazara has a large presence beyond real money gaming as well. Is the dip an opportunity?
So basically, as I always keep saying, you know, this is not my area of circle of competence.
Okay,
so
fine.
I would like to, I would not say happy to miss. Of course, there's nothing called happy to miss. You have to understand it. But I have not done enough work on this. That's what. So I will not like to give any view on this.
So we should get a view from people who understand the gaming industry, of course, because there are two aspects that the government intends to promote, which I think Nazara is also playing in. So, which is why the argument when the announcement took place, right? Is it going to be net neutral for them? Because yes, they have some exposure and they've made a significant investment, but their businesses are
difficult.
difficult.
It's a negative.
I agree.
Whether it's priced in or no is the
I'm
question.
saying there were some that ported the idea or gave the idea that maybe because of the exposure to these two that are getting the fillip from the government, it might be possible. I don't buy it. Yeah. I'm just
saying. So basically, what I read was this Pokerbazi investment was worth 800 crores.
Yes.
And at that time, when this news came, Nazara's market cap was around 11,500 crores.
Yes.
So it had to drop 6-7% because market would anticipate that much of the value, they'll have to write it off.
Correct.
Excellent.
But the business of Nazara, I think, is not affected. Core business.
Exactly.
So that is my view. And just extending on your risk asset thing, which you mentioned after the Fed Jackson Hole meeting, I think this should lead to a metal rally, in my view. And I hold, as again disclaimer, I hold Tata Steel and Hindalco. And again, Hindalco looks very good. Aluminium was also up on Friday, and Alcoa was up 7-8%. And I think stock is at 1.2 times book value with 15% ROE and net debt to EBITDA of 1x, and now doing 1 lakh crore capex, which in my view, in my calculation, will increase the EBITDA by 20,000 crores, which is right now 32, Hindalco. And today it is 32,000 crore EBITDA. So I think there's significant potential in next 3 to 4 years, as I said last time also.
Got it. Okay, we'll mark that, by the way. But just before we get to the brokerage call, just want to mark the big movers, potential movers, right? And whether they are moving or no. So Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and whether that is showing a sharp move. Whether the Nifty inclusions and Interglobe in particular, is it showing a sharp move? And then the smaller names like Signpost, etc., are they showing a big move or no? Considering the fact that the order wins are large for them. Signpost is up 10-11% in the pre-open. Yes Bank 10%. Yeah, well, chance for SBMC, right, to pick up more stake
5%,
there.
yeah.
So that's also very, very interesting. Mazgon, interestingly, is showing that move too, about 3.5%. So some very real names. Okay, 9:05. So that time of the show, where we go to what daily rooms are recommending in the session today, we'll mark more stocks, viewers. But the big brokerage call is Jefferies upgrading Divi's lab, is it? Because this is, I think, the second time in 3 days that we're hearing a call on Divi's lab. Sumit, why have you chosen this one today?
Yet another positive note coming for Divi's Lab, and this time it's an upgrade coming in from Jefferies, and this upgrade is after a very long time. And the upgrade, they have upgraded the rating to buy from hold, and have also hiked the target price by around 400 odd rupees from 6,750. The new target price that Jefferies has set for Divi's is 7,150. Now, what the brokerage here is seeing is that they expect growth to be led by the custom synthesis business. They're expecting this business to face near-term volatility due to launch of Entresto generics in US, but still this segment will deliver a 16% CAGR over FY25 to FY28 as per the brokerage. They also say that Divi's is the best GLP-1, has the best GLP-1 pipeline in the Indian CRDMO segment, and they believe that this GLP-1 will add around $250 million of top line till FY28. And moreover, these drugs that Divi's Lab has are not facing any patent expiry for the next 1 decade, and this delivers, or this results into a strong growth pipeline for Divi's until 2030 and beyond that as well. That is what Jefferies is saying. They also believe that Divi's will be one of the key beneficiary of the China Plus One policy, and they're also expecting the generics to show signs of growth going forward. Now, they believe the generic division can clock a low double-digit growth going forward on the back of the new product launches and continued volume growth in the existing product portfolio of the company. Overall, they're expecting the company's sales to grow at a CAGR of nearly 14% while EBITDA to grow at a CAGR of nearly 20% over FY25 to FY28.
Okay, so that's with regards to Divi's. In fact, there's another note on Cohance as well, which is positive. Parag bhai, any view with regards to Divi's Laboratories and Cohance? Because two positive notes coming in with regards to Divi's Laboratories in the last 2 to 3 days, and some bit of positive momentum now seen in Pharma.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I track both these companies, and I also believe in this long-term opportunity of CDMO plus overall Pharma. I am constructive. And the prices of the stocks have corrected. I think that is why Jefferies has taken the opportunity to upgrade them, because the prices of Divi's or Cohance, for example, Cohance is at, I think, 52-week low, and that is why the stock. I think coming 2 quarters will be tough for this company still. But overall long-term opportunity remains fantastic, and this is high ROC, high margin businesses. So I think the analyst has done a right job by upgrading the stocks at a time when stock prices have corrected. The numbers, of course, will come after 2 quarters, in my view.
Wow, okay, I did not look at this when I looked at the stock. Cohance, absolutely right, Parag bhai. 878 seems to be the 52-week low. 905 is where it is at right now, and it is trading below its key moving averages.
Yeah, and Advent is a very large shareholder who took a stake from the promoter at 500 rupees. Then they merged this Cohance lab. It was a Suven Pharma, right? And Cohance got merged into it. So I have been tracking, and I was having it in my earlier portfolios. So I was actually considering to buy, but now I think the stock will open gap up.
Kush, you want to weigh in on Cohance?
So I think this could be the first pop. Even if I look at it from a weekly standpoint, this retracement that the stock has had ever since it made that jump from 600 odd levels, it's come at the 61.8%. Now there is, of course, technical significance of this level. We've spoken about it in terms of Nifty as well. So yes, it's trying to find its feet. Momentum obviously will take time coming, but if you want to play for a high risk, high reward kind of a trade, then Cohance Life Sciences makes sense. At the moment, keep your stop losses at the 52-week low. I think on the way up, it could well pop to 975 and about 1020 also. So very high risk reward ratio. But mind you, this is the first green shoot at the recovery or the revival story for the stock.
On Ask Profit, Kush, you've often gotten questions, and we always get questions on Yes Bank. And I know what you generally say about a trade in Yes Bank, but if it is likely to open gap up, which is the case today, if you are in the stock, would you use opportunities to sell?
Becho.
But absolutely. Specifically, would you want to look at the chart at all?
No, I see. These are some time.
I mean, I'm saying because you didn't even look at your screen.
How do you know I did not? See, some of these names, even though they don't figure on my buy list, I do track them just so that I can tell investors kab nikalna hai, right?
Now that you know how closely Alex watches, yes. Yeah, but please finish your point.
Fun times. No, but I would take that on a serious note also. I would take this opportunity to exit, and I'll tell you why. some of these stocks, including the likes of, Vodafone, SpiceJet, they're very, very retail heavy, retail participation heavy. Every time you will see a pop on this, there will be some supply pressure that will keep coming in. We've had this story on Yes Bank where it rallied all the way up until 32 and gave way, and then you've been seeing constant supply pressures at 28, even at 23 levels, almost immediately at about 21. So supply pressures will keep coming. I don't suggest you hold them in your portfolio and hold them for long term. If you're trading and you get a 10% pop or even a 5% pop on a day like this, you might as well take money home and perhaps buy it at lower levels if at all you want to. I usually don't recommend trade in some of these names.
Okay, 8 minutes are done, and just trying to see what's moved and what's not. I'm sure Mazgon Dock would be showing some pieces of an uptick, so I think that is one stock you want to keep an eye out for sure. Interglobe Aviation and IndusInd Bank, both of them should come up on your screen by virtue of the fact that Interglobe Aviation is entering the Nifty up about 1%, IndusInd Bank exiting the Nifty up about 1%. Sometimes it's the winner's curse and the loser's victory really when it comes to index inclusions or otherwise. Reliance Power is suffering because there are some more further actions that I believe that have come over the weekend. So keep an eye out on the ADAG group stocks. And Yes Bank on the Nifty 500 is the top gainer, followed by Mazgon Dock. The others are a bit quiet. IT seems to be okay. Kush, we didn't get around to discussing IT. Emphasis, Zensar Tech and a few others are starting off well today. Is there a trade in any of the IT names according to you?
So just quickly a broad view, the pop is there, the rebound from support levels is there. It's not turned into a momentum-based rally just yet. So I would be a little circumspect, at least on the big names like HCL Tech and TCS right now. Infosys perhaps you could buy and hold for some time. But if you want to trade, keep your eyes glued on the mid-cap space where the likes of Emphasis, Coforge, even Persistent, these have seen a rather sustained run over the last 3 to 4 sessions. Volume activity also fairly decent. You've seen accumulation. So yes, if I were to trade IT, it wouldn't be in the large names just yet. It would be in the likes of Emphasis, Coforge, and Persistent.
In fact, apart from this, if you talk about Motilal Oswal as well, KPIT Tech, Tata Tech, Tata Elxsi, these are the 3 companies where they have initiated a buy call and good target prices, 1600 on a KPIT Tech, 580 on a Tata Tech, and 4600 on a Tata Elxsi is what you're looking at. So these are going to be interesting names. Quick question, Parag Bhai, we spoke about auto as well, but when you talk about the auto ancillary segment, we are going to talk to 2 managements today, that's Ask Automotive as well as the Endurance Technologies as well. How are you looking at the GST impact and from here on taking tariffs into consideration, because we're just nearing the deadline? How would you advise investors to play the space?
So right now still tariff uncertainty is there. GST certainty has come, right? Like by 3rd September you will get the GST rates. So you are going to see sluggish sales till then. And that also Maruti chairman, I think, said that there are heavy discounts right now. So that sales impact is not that much. So I would be more positive on domestic facing names in auto industry, whether it is OEM or auto components. So as I said, Motherson Wiring or Mindacom, those are the auto component stocks which we have in the portfolio, which are mainly domestic in nature, and where the content per vehicle is a bigger story.
Yeah, so watch out for that. Kush, I want to come to you for last thoughts. What stands out post the pre-market session?
One stock that even Somit's mentioned a couple of times in his, segment is Olectra Greentech. Very interesting moves, very sustained recovery, accumulation very clear, and now it's finally crossed beyond that 1550 resistance level that I spoke about, when he mentioned it. So I would actually look at it from, a momentum and a trade perspective as well. 1600, 1645 are your targets. Keep a very tight stop loss near the 1530 mark. So momentum could well take it higher. Olectra Greentech on the radar.
Olectra Greentech, yes indeed. Came on the radar because of a potential large order win. At least that is what is spoken about. Now let's wait and watch if indeed it translates into any kind of gains for Olectra Greentech coming ahead. Kush believes, of course, there are trading gains to be made there. But I think it'll be important to see if the markets maintain the gains that we are expected to start with. About 1/3 of a percent, so 80 points, on expected lines. Without banks participating, I reckon IT is participating today. IT would be taking the index high. Yes, indeed. 1.22% higher. The street is underweight. There is a Fed rate cut in the offing, presumably. No surprise that IT is doing what it is doing. Mid caps and small caps come up on your screen. 1/3% for the mid cap index, maybe 1/3% for the small cap index as well. Let's get the heat map up on the screen and show you what's moving and what's not. So IT all the way. Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, TCS, HCL Tech. Those are the top 4 or 5. There's also Metallica in the offing. Hindalco, something that we spoke about, doing okay. Bajaj Finance has got positive news to itself, by the way. Bajaj Finance is saying that the stress on SME is not very high, and that was very interesting too. There is IndusInd Bank, there is Trent and a few others too, which are looking okay. On the flip side, ICICI Bank 0.5% lower, Bharti, HDFC Bank, Finserv are amongst the others. But Alex, IT it is.
I wonder who's calling you at 9:15 in the morning. They should know that Neeraj Shah stands in front of the market wall to tell you about market open. Let's also look at the broader markets and see where they're at right now. And I just wonder, you have gains of about 0.5% for the mid-cap index. Let's look at the small-cap index as well. Similar gains. So let's see if that builds through the day. And in fact, let's look at individual stocks. Actually, before that, let's pull up the sectoral index. We spoke about IT, which is going to be the top gainer on the top there, 1.6%, but everything is looking sanguine at this point. Defense once again among the top two gainers, and I wonder whether that one constituent is pushing the envelope quite a bit. So we'll look at individual stocks, and then maybe at the end we'll go to the defense constituents to see what is moving what. So let's look at Indigo as well as Max Health. This is the big update that you got over the weekend. The inclusions into the Nifty 50 are often looked at with a lot of focus, but not necessarily a big stock mover. It's certainly something that is in the right direction for something like an Interglobe Aviation. Mazagon Dock, this is the one that really we were focusing on this morning. It's up about 3%. And this is what we spoke about, 70,000 crore rupees likely submarine order with German participation is something to look at. Brigade Enterprises, couple of developments here. They've launched a new project and they've announced that they have gotten land in Tamil Nadu on long lease, where they're going to be building a hotel as well, 5-star hotel. SIAT has signed a $171 million agreement with Sri Lanka Investment Board. This is capacity expansion that is likely taking place there. Stock is up about 2.5%. Remember, the stock moves in a hurry when it has to, so keep this on your radar. Signpost India, interesting stock, 1,500 crore market cap, announces that it's gotten a deal with revenue potential of 700 odd crore rupees. Certainly paying attention is the street on this particular counter. Cohance Life has gotten an initiation from Jefferies with a buy rating and a considerable upside of 30% on the previous close. It's up and about in trade today. Devi's Lab also, Jefferies upgrading to a buy with a hike in the target price to 7,150. The stock is up and about, gaining about 2% in trade today. Kingfa, another small one, but you have an interesting update. SBI Mutual Fund has bought into the preferential issue that they did, 500 crore rupees. It's under a tad bit of pressure, down about 2%, but keep this on your radar. JSW Steel has gotten a 1,473 crore demand notice from the Odisha government. There's a mine that they shut down or they stopped operations in, and they said that they are going to challenge this in court. It's not too much of a reaction, so I guess the street is taking note of that. ITC Hotels, just a couple more. ITC Hotels, GM Financial is initiated with a sell call. They have said a number of things, and we'll bring you the details in just a bit, but 1.5%, and the downside that they're seeing is about 12% from the previous close. And finally, Sirma and Bellrise, the shares are set to exit lock-in. Not too much of an impact on account of this. I guess to a certain extent, the price action already took place. So interesting names. I wonder, Hiral, if you're seeing anything else from the broader markets that's moving.
Paper stocks are buzzing in trade right now, Alex. That's the other one that I'm looking at. JK Paper, West Coast Paper. Let's quickly pull up all these names on the screens and you'll see Seshasai Paper. Strong moves coming in on paper names. Genius Paper. These are very small names that we're talking about. Orient Paper, Imami Paper. All of them, some strong moves coming in terms of paper stocks in trade today as well. But apart from that, I think pretty much what Alex and Neeraj covered. Those are the stocks that are in focus as well. In fact, let's also take a quick view from Kush. Kush, anything, just a momentum play that you're seeing in terms of paper stocks, which could be a trade today?
So not a space that I track, very closely in particular, but must be some news across the sector, that is perhaps playing out. Genus paper, there's some sort of a pop, but no, I wouldn't really trade, too much into them just yet. I want to see if this move kind of, extends, or is it just a pop. A couple of stocks that I want to highlight though, particularly for the viewers, Nava is one stock that, we've discussed time and again, on the show, on the channel. And if the team can bring up, let's say, the 5-day chart for Nava, you'll see the kind of pop that it had on Thursday, a very sharp up move. I think if you have a position, we've discussed this, a couple of weeks ago. If you do have a position on this, it's a good idea to now take money off the table. And more recently, it's GPIL Godavari Power. It's had a phenomenal run. You are seeing volume upticks also. Even on Friday, the stock was up nearly 7%, and the volumes also spiked up quite a bit. But now it's starting to hit overheated territories. I think we discussed this call first time around at about 180, 185 odd levels. So it's already at 240. If you have a position, now would be a good time to at least book partially and hold the rest with a trailing stop loss at 230.
Okay. I wonder what you think about the opportunity in Mazgon. If you've See, I know we discussed it beforehand, but it's up 3.6% and holding at this point. You've said you are cautious on the defense pack and Mazgon in particular. At what level, in your opinion, does it become a buy?
That's a good question. See, my initial reaction, it still remains. I'm still cautious. I wouldn't go out and buy the pop just yet. 2700, 2780 was the resistance level, were the resistance levels that we discussed. Right now, trading below that. Now, when does it become an interesting buy? 2850. The near-term resistances have been around those levels. Right now, the upticks have not been on the back of very strong volumes, even HAL. And the reason I mentioned HAL in the same breath is because even there were some reports of order wins, but even that fizzled out around the 4600 mark. So even when you're getting some sort of a positive news, the reaction is not as sharp as used to be, let's say, about 3 months ago. So a little caution on, these names also. Now would be a good time to start nibbling into them from, let's say, a 9 to 12 month kind of a view, but they still don't fall in that category where, you've got that momentum and, any positive news would perhaps be a big uptick and, you could still trade in them. So it's still in those zones, some of these defense names for me.
Okay. What else? I mean, with IT zooming up so much at the open, right? And we know that Parag bhai is tilted towards the large cap names. The question is whether mid cap names come into the fray. So that is part one. And part two is that while we're talking about IT and exporters, right, the domestic story out here, we have some telling news, Alex.
Absolutely. Big exclusive, because everything we've spoken about since morning and last week is the rollout of the GST, which was approved, the 2-rate structure. And we've got a date that has been identified, and Shrimi Chaudhary picking up this big exclusive information, joining us now to tell you more about that. Shrimi, everybody is watching for this. What have you picked up?
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. And the rollout of the new GST rate structure is expected to take place around September 22nd. And this has been decided strategically, time to coincide with the start of Navratri. As you know, it's the most significant festive period. So, of course, the move is aiming at reviving consumer sentiment, boosting demand, and triggering a surge in the festive season consumption across key sectors. Now, the official sources indicating that the revised rate will be implemented approximately 5 to 7 days after the GST Council meet, which is scheduled on September 3rd and 4th, where they are finalizing the proposed true structure reforms, and the notification of the new rates are expected to begin rolling out shortly after the council decision are announced on 3rd and 4th. And in fact, the GST Council, which comprises, of course, state finance ministers, are meeting to deliberate on the historic rate rationalization plan, where they are, going to simplify the 4-tier structure to 2-slab structure of 5 and 18%. And in fact, what we are also picking up that this is going to be a crucial reset of the indirect tax system, and could not have come at a better time. And with the festive season demand picking up, the timing ensure maximum impact is what a senior government official told NDTV Profit. And If implemented on schedule, Alex, the new GST structure could lower prices of several consumer-facing goods and services, providing relief to, even household and big-ticket purchases. As we know that most of the consumer durables like TV, ACs, etc., are moving to 18% from the existing 28%, and of course, even the small cars are also moving to 18%, and all those items like paneer, ghee, etc., essential items which are currently attracting 12% is moving to much lower, that is 5% bracket. So all eye, of course, on the council meeting, but this is the date what government officials are indicating to roll out the new rates.
Shrimi, I have to mention this. Shrimi and the Delhi Bureau have been on top of this story like how?
Yeah.
Like we've gotten updates, timely updates, late night updates, early morning updates, market open updates. It's been right out there. Shrimi, kudos to you and the entire Bureau for getting these stories up and running at the first instance. So love that. And Shrimi, just one request from all of us out here. There is some talk of 350cc bikes attracting 40% maybe. It will be great to get some updates there if indeed that's in the realms of possibility whenever we get it.
Yeah, sure. We are tracking story as much as possible from the government sources. The only indication so far is that the two-wheelers below the 350cc category is moving to 18%. However, there's no clarity that the high-end bikes above 350cc will go to 40% or not. But we will soon update you on that as well.
I'm sure you will, Shrimi. I'm sure you will.
From our perspective, it's like we're waiting for Christmas and Shrimi is Santa Claus, right? So
on this piece for sure. But
and the date is actually a cherry on the icing because you have Ganesh Chaturthi usually not too much that moves in terms of bookings for them, right?
No, but Hiral, I'm saying even if it does, right? What you are at 25th. Everybody was saying that, oh, what if it comes in October? So much of a period loss. Now you take into account 15 days of Shraddh. Wherein
Which
most
ends when?
buyers-
Which ends when?
21st is when Shraddh ends.
Yeah.
22nd is when the
is
Navratri
Exactly.
starts.
So I'm saying if it starts on 26th of September, right? Effectively when Shraddh begins.
Yeah.
So 25th August se leke 6th September. It's 11 days of pain, if at all, of low bookings or no bookings.
Yeah.
Shraddh
That will
anyways
be made
people
up
don't
in
book.
Navratri. Exactly. It will be made up in Navratri.
This is
It will be
demand
bumper.
deferred and not demand denied.
if anything, there is going to be a pile-up of demand. You've seen it in the past.
Yeah. And
where that
Blue
takes
Star
up.
has told us that even if there is a pile-up of demand, we'll be able to cater to it.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a problem.
There was too much inventory, in fact.
So
Yes.
does this negate any issues? There are some people, for example, talking about whether auto rally might see a bit of a pause because there will be a deferment of a larger magnitude. Now that it goes out of the window, does it negate those negative benefits?
So
or negative pieces?
regular profit booking might come.
Right.
Because anyway on 27th this big event of Tariff is there. So the regular profit booking might come because their stocks have rallied also significantly.
Yeah.
Then second point is stock like Hero is going out of Nifty and all those kind of technical things will come. But in my view, the structural thing is there. So I think as you rightly said, it is just deferred.
By the way, 27 is a market holiday, so you could see some action tomorrow. What do you think, Kush?
No, in all likelihood. Plus, this is the expiry, the monthly expiry week, right? So you expect
tomorrow is
volatility.
expiry.
Absolutely. No, it's
expiry
on
is Thursday.
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 So
Right,
expect
right.
volatility. If I can just take a quick question from Parag bhai. I remain curious on the fundamental side as well. Does this change your outlook in any form or fashion in terms of the result expectation for this quarter?
Yeah. This quarter will be dull. Anyway, the expectations have been brought down.
Okay.
But anyways, sir, I think the market will look forward to the
Market
OND
will look
quarter,
forward.
any which ways now.
See, because if September results will come in, say, October, before that, if you have got a GST cut, then market will take it in its
Take it
stride.
in this stride. Anyway, forward looking. Correct.
I think the small other thing that will happen is that last year as well, July, August, September quarter was not a very strong quarter. Remember the first half GDP growth was really weak. So I think we don't have a very excessive base to compete with in this quarter as well. So
In
I think
fact,
that helps.
Q2, the many stocks, many companies will have a very low base.
Yeah,
Cement,
exactly.
I can assure you, cement, FMCG, very low base.
Low base.
Yeah. So I think that also.
If you see Dabur's
aids.
Q2 result last year, it was, the base is such that it will be able to deliver 10% growth, in my view.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not...
No, this is helpful.
intuitively,
Yeah.
this is just intuitively I'm telling.
Yeah. Sometimes these things work better, right? Imagine what will happen to Q3 numbers. Quite stellar. Okay, Kush Bora, anything on the charts?
No, I think I'll still stick to Electra Green Tech. It's the one that's still holding ground despite the kind of mild profit booking that you're seeing in the mid and the small cap names. And SJVN still continues as a positional pick for the next month, maybe a little longer.
SJVN. And there was something that you mentioned. Acha, Electra, right? You said
Electra,
Electra
yes.
remains a call for the morning.
Yes.
Is this the deep industries variety call, Kush Bora?
That's the SJVN.
That's the SJVN.
That's the
one.
SJVN.
Okay.
First pop above the 200-day moving average in the last 8 odd months, 9 odd months.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's still
what are the
some
upsides you 20-30%?
Look, from a target standpoint, I'm gunning for 110. But what I usually do is the moment you get closer to those levels, we give a revise and an update, and then higher. There is definitely a possibility that it could move 20-25% as well in the coming months.
There was some update which I'm looking for on SJVM a couple of days back. It has to do with the inauguration of the first unit of its Buxar thermal power plant. This is what we read. By the way, in case you want a head start in the morning and you want to read this, it's available in our All You Need to Know story on the website ndtvprofit.com. But I believe we have to thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Oh, okay.
No, I want
one
question.
question.
Okay, so Hiral has one, I have one. Hiral, why don't you go first?
I can come up with two more
I
as well.
want one technical view on a signpost from Kush, because that company, the way it's bagging orders, currently, I was just looking at the 1 month chart, 25-26% upside on a signpost India. Today also pretty strong. Are you seeing further momentum? Do you think there is some steam left?
So I had this on my radar over the weekend when I study or deep dive into some stocks. This definitely popped up on my radar. But as you would imagine, with about 50% move, nearly 50% move in 20 odd sessions, I think the move from a near term is done and dusted. So if you have a position, I would actually suggest an exit. If it dips closer to, let's say, the 270 mark, 265, 270 zone is where you could consider an addition, on this. But right now, with the kind of move that it's already made, in fact, today also you're seeing some profit booking from the highs of 310. The stock's already slipped to 294 levels. So yes, good moves, but now it's time to take money home.
Parag bhai, any opinion on this out of home space? I wonder in the listed space, I hadn't heard of this, I must confess. 1,500 crore market cap, so small company. But have you studied this at all? The outdoor advertising space?
No, I need to study that.
It's a small
too
one.
many things to learn.
Very small.
Yeah, very
By the
small.
way, just to end on a positive note, Infosys and Hindalco both are making highs today, luckily.
Charo ungliyan ki mein. No, I think the other small piece that is doing well today, because I saw that it is not just Cohance Life, which is up 1.39%. Sai Life, which has had a good run, is also is doing okay. A couple of other names in this CDMO, CRDMO space have had a good run in the last few days. Okay, Sai is now in the red, but otherwise was in the green.
But Cohance is up 3%.
Yeah, now up 3%.
So CDMO, I would like to say to all the viewers that
No, even this is come off
so
a little
because
bit.
next
to
2
refresh my
quarters are
screen.
going to be dull. So you have to keep that in mind. So all your viewers, I think whoever wants to trade, he has to trade with a cushion, with a lot of, I would say.
Yeah, I think the zing maybe comes in.
It is a long-term
about
story.
3 months later when the market starts discounting.
It is a
what
long-term
happens
story.
last quarter or FY27.
It is not 2 quarters. 2 quarters, I think the results are going to be dull still.
Okay, Parag, we are doing a small conversation with a couple of auto and auto-ang companies after this conversation. Now, what are the 2 most important things that you would want to know which will cement your opinion about auto and auto-angs? What is it that you want to know from the management?
So basically, I would say that how TVS and Mahindra are executing so well. They are gaining market share, they are improving
No, we are
margins.
not talking to TVS or Mahindra.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying. And some of the auto component companies are also doing that.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and some of the companies which I own, some of the companies which I don't own. I'll take those names. Vindacop, for example, Motherson Wiring, for example, SGS Enterprise. I don't own it. But I saw the results. Results were fantastic. So when the user industry is growing at just 5-6%, how some of these companies have managed to grow at 15-14% in terms of revenues, and then also improving margins due to operating leverage.
Got it.
So auto components is a very interesting space. I think I have never seen such numbers. For example, Mindacop is our portfolio company. The auto user industry has grown 5-6%. They've shown 16% revenue growth. Motherson, I saw revenue growth was 15%. When the industry is just going at 5-6%, this content
How is it
per
that they're able to do that?
yeah,
Okay, we'll talk to them about this. Okay.
Sure.
Parag, Kush Bora, thank you so much, gentlemen.
you.
Lovely starting of the week with both of you. As
Thanks.
always.
Thanks.